Hello and welcome to SoulBird Art. My name is Roberta and you have tuned in to another Ask SoulBird question. So today I was asked by @RoseStanleyArt. Thank you for your question. When you are painting, does the idea come to you as you paint, or do you plan each step? It's a really good question, and thank you for asking this. Now, it depends on which type of artwork I'm creating. So just briefly, as many of you might know, I'm an illustrator as well. So if I'm working for someone, the process is different. And of course, much more planning needs to go into that because I'm including someone else in the creation of that particular artwork. Now, for instance, if it's for a publisher or an author, they will already have a brief that they are giving me and saying, I'd like this, this, and this, and this, and this. Please go and add your intuitive take on this. Even when I'm given projects like that, I still like to journey. Now, also, as some of you may know, I'm a shamanic practitioner, and so the foundation of all of my work, whether it's for healing or whether it's for artwork, is based upon moving into an altered state of consciousness. So we move into an altered state of consciousness. It's a relaxed state where the soul can move into flight. And it's from this space that I go out of body and I communicate, I meet with my ancestors, or my spirit allies, spirit kith and kin, whoever I am trying to communicate with, depending on the artwork that I am trying to create. And I ask them to help me create this artwork. Now, I will do that whether it's for an illustration project or whether it's for my own shamanic artwork, medicinal artwork. And that is because I like to have my artwork as a collaboration between myself, my true self, and spirit. And I think that with that beautiful combination of the physicality of who I am, Roberta Ortwood here as a human being, as well as that cleaner, finer, holy state of moving up into spirit, I believe that those finer energies and visions are able to filter through me and eventually find the page in front of me. So truly, my work is a collaboration. Now, that's a very creative process to move through, and there is a structure that I move through, so that is planning. But you, lovely Rose Stanley Art, you're probably asking about the actual structure of how I get from the idea to the artwork itself on paper. Now, once I have done the shamanic journey and I have received the visions, which of course is never just one static image, it is a free-flowing 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional, 5-dimensional expression. And it's very much like a story that I am gifted. And from that place, it is up to me to interpret the visions, the symbols, the colours that I've been shown, and to place them down onto paper. So this is part of the creative process. It is a planning, but it is number one, receive the vision. So then next I am to portray it, and really from that journey state I'm to come back into my body and to place it down on paper. Now these images, my first images from spirit, are very sketchy, and I wanted to give you a little example of what some of them look like. Now I'm going to show you one image that I did for a shamanic book. It was The Ultimate Guide to Shamanism. And this image, I hope that you'll be able to see very clearly. I started with some very sketchy images. You can see it was literally just scribbling. And then eventually I got to the point where there was a full vision that came into being on the page. And, even when I have arrived back into my body, back into this space, and I have the pencil in my hand and I am sketching here, Spirit is still communicating through me, through my hand, through the pencil. And so the image is forming as I am drawing. So this is why you are asking, does the idea come to you as you paint, or do you plan each step? It's a mixture of both things, because the journey had already given me a story, visions, multiple visions, and it's up to me to create it into something two-dimensional. But even once I have arrived back, those images are going to continue to evolve once they are placed on the paper. When you are perceiving simple lines, simple forms, simple shapes, you are not just looking at a triangle or a circle or a free-form shape. You're experiencing an energetic imprint that has been placed upon the page. So it comes to life as I'm painting, and therewith when you see it, it comes to life as you witness it. Now this image was from, as I've mentioned, the Ultimate Guide to Shamanism, and it was a depiction of the three shamanic worlds, the upper world, the middle world, and the lower world. And, I'd love to share the journey that I went on. This had a brief from the author and the publisher, but they pretty much gave me free rein to create the vision that I was receiving, which I was very grateful for. So I went on a journey to ask for a simplified vision of the three shamanic worlds, because of course if you try to depict the three shamanic worlds, they aren't just little simple realities, little circular realities as you see in my picture. They are infinite. They are never ending. And so I asked for a simplified vision. And what Spirit did with me was to take me into those worlds that I eventually depicted, as I will show you now. So, sorry, it's in the foil here. I was taken to these three worlds and I journeyed. And for instance, I journeyed to the lower world. I went out of body. As you can see, there's a woman lying down here. I journeyed through, I was shown a tree, and of course an access mundi does not need to be a tree, but in my communication with Spirit, it needed to be that for this particular illustration project. And they took me down to the lower world. And of course, you will meet all sorts of spirit allies in the lower world. But what I was shown were these very few animals that were gathered round a fire. And, the story goes on and on. You can see the story for yourself here. And so I took each of those animals that I met, I greeted and I spoke with as a sign that they must be depicted in this particular painting. And so I did. And of course, as you can see here, I journeyed up. I of course started in the middle world, but then we went up to the upper world. And as you can see here, I met with some alternate spirit allies who were humanoid in form. And as I was journeying through these particular areas, I was being shown specific colours. So I often see very, very strong and vivid colours when I am in my journey state. And so as you can see, and these aren't typical for the shamanic worlds, it is what I personally was shown as a vision, that we started with these beautiful pale blues, moving into the luminous yellow and green, moving into blues, pale pinks, purples, and ending with this beautiful shade of pink at the top. Now, all of this information is needed to be gathered and depicted as clearly as I possibly can. And, after I have received that information, although I didn't do it with this particular image, I may need, say, some visual references. So, for instance, if, have I got anything here? I guess I could show you for the white buffalo calf woman, the visual reference that I needed from the vision that I was given here was my hands. So you can see that she is holding the sacred Chanupa pipe here. And hands are my nemesis. I have always struggled with hands, but I'm always determined to continue becoming better at them. And in this particular image, I needed the vision of somebody holding a pipe. And so you will see the hands in this painting are my hands. So sometimes visual references in the form of photographic work is needed to create the image. So that is also a part of the planning process. I will need to go and find or create photographic depictions of myself, usually, because I'm the easiest model to work with rather than working with someone from outside. It's very easy to use my own body, my own arms, my own face for some of the imagery that I paint. Other than that, once I get going, so I've laid out an initial doodle sketch, as you've seen already, then I will move into transferring that into a larger size, a larger format. Once the pencil stage gets going, I like to look at the very first foundation, really, and I trust that it will evolve out of that stage of the lines that have boundaried us particular shapes. Once colour goes down, it always evolves. Once colour is down on the paper, it always evolves. So this is the next free-flowing part. Sometimes I plan the colours, sometimes I don't. For example, for the white buffalo calf woman, I did plan the colours, the colour palette for this one, because it was very clear about which colours were necessary. I communicated with white buffalo calf woman and the animals that are depicted in here, and they were very clear about what sensations were coming through, what energies were coming through with those particular shades of colours. In other paintings, like this one, the ecstatic dancing, shamanic ecstatic dance painting, I knew that it was going to be colourful, but I didn't know where the colours were going to go. So this one was a case of trusting, dropping into the heart space, opening my eyes and my heart to the paint palettes in front of me, which I have a few of them with pretty much all the colours you could possibly think of, and just falling into that surrendering moment of choosing intuitively which colours were to be depicted. And of course, what happened here was a beautiful rainbow. So there is a balance of planning and free-flowing. And I think as artists, we need the best of both worlds. And to plan also makes the process easier. And the planning for me, as I've already said, is often to do with getting the right reference images. Planning is making sure that I do that shamanic journey, because without that shamanic journey, I don't have the connection to spirit, the clean connection to spirit that I am able to have access to. But the free-flowing part is almost, it's the the risky part. It's the part of just, jumping off the edge of a cliff and going, I have no idea if this painting is going to end up okay, whether those colors are going to work together or not, whether spirit has communicated well to me, and vice versa. Have I listened clearly enough? Have I seen well enough through the shaman's eyes, which is the heart? Have I seen clearly enough to depict the image that has been gifted to me? It's a leap of faith every single time I create a painting. And as I've said, it is a mixture of both planning and free-flowing creative expression. So I hope that answers your question somewhat, and I look forward to your next questions, which I will answer in another video.